want you to give me the loudest yes and give it and hold it for 5 seconds. And you're giving me that yes because you came to hear a dynamic idea to transform Cleveland, right? And I also want that yes if you love Cleveland. So 1, 2, 3. Now sit on down. Y'all made my TED speech start off good. Real good. Real good. That's definitely the most yeses I've heard in Cleveland in a long time. Cleveland is a place where I've heard the saying, if you can make it in Cleveland, you can make it anywhere. I know they say that about New York, but in Cleveland, I really feel that way. And one of the reasons that is because we have a system that we kind of go about, and it's about the word no. Everything is no, 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 no. Well, I'm immune to no. I've grown this knack to be able to work my way through no. So tonight I'm going to tell you about my biggest idea I've ever thought about trying in my life. But before we get there, I need to kind of give you some credibility, right? I got to show you that I'm capable of being able to do these types of big ideas. So ideas, everybody has ideas, right? If you meet anybody, everybody has an idea. It's a great idea, I have an idea. So how do you make an idea go from one place or another, right? And so for me, I always follow the same 5 things that I do every time, right? So this is how I made it. This is how I kind of, so the first thing I do is I have a great idea. I have a lot of them. The next thing I do is I build an amazing team. You can't do anything by yourself, except for go to the bathroom. You need a team. The next thing you have to do is to create a plan, execute the plan, and what I like to say is allow the universe to take over. The universe to take over. So when I got back here 5 years ago back to Cleveland from Washington, D.C., I came back to say I want to try to find a way to make Cleveland a better place. So when I got back, I found out that Cleveland's birthday is July 22nd, 1796. Well, everybody loved their birthday, right? Who doesn't love their birthday? So we said, we're going to put together a festival. Now, I had never done a festival before, but I thought that we could do it. So I got 6 people from Cleveland. I took 6 people who lived other places, and we got together, and over 3 months, we just started telling people it was Cleveland's birthday. Exactly. We were turning 214. 214, what is that? 214. Well, we had the team. We made the plan. The day of the event, they say it's going to rain. We only sold a couple thousand tickets. Now, I told everybody that 10,000 people were going to show up. And then the universe took over. Still gives me goosebumps to this day. We did it. So now I'm ready. We've been continuing it every year. So now you got to push it a little further. If you're going to do bigger ideas, you got to get to the place where you're going to push yourself to the next level. And so I walked from Cleveland to Columbus. Walked. You can't take 71 North or 71 South. It's against the law. You have to take the country roads all the way down. I walked it by myself. Now I got my team together, and we got a map. We put a little GPS thing on my phone, and we set up about 8 of the 14 days. We set up a place for me to stay. So I knew that at some point the universe was going to have to take over because all I had was a tent on my back. Well, I didn't plan for it very well, so I wore mismatched shoes because one shoe was good for the left foot and one shoe was good for the right foot. I camped outside, but the universe showed up for me on the 11th day. I'm walking, there's no sidewalks, so every car you see on these roads, you remember them, because you don't see a lot of them. So a red truck goes by once, red truck goes by me twice, and I'm like, oh. I see him a third time, he pulls right in front of me. I'm in Sunbury, Ohio. No place to stay. He rolls down the window and he says, young man, I tried to drive by you a few times, but God told me to come back and tell you that I know you don't have a place to stay. When you get to the next intersection, hang a right, and you'll see Sunbury United Methodist Church. And when you get there, let the pastor know, and you can stay there. Now, you can check on that. Call it Sunbury United Methodist Church. They should remember me. But even with the plan, sometimes you just need the universe. And lastly, most people probably know me from New Year's Eve. If you only knew, sitting there on Public Square or on your couch, all that our young professional group went through to give that gift to the city of Cleveland. Went in a year early and said, hey, we're going to shut down Public Square. We want to do this. We're going to donate all the time. And you know what we heard? It wasn't yes. It was no. No. But what I tell you about no? I'm immune to no. So we got our team together. Get the team, the old band together. We began to work. We began to call, do all of these different things. And the reason people told us no was because they said, what if it's 15 degrees outside? What if it's a snowstorm? What if something happens, someone gets stabbed or anything bad happens? Then how are you going to deal with that? That's your legacy. Fear, scared. Well, I wasn't scared. And good thing I wasn't, because it was 15 degrees and snowing. 15 degrees and snowing. But the universe took over. So Ohio Homecoming, who are we? We are passionate about the attraction and retention of young professionals to this area. We're passionate about it. Now, currently, it seems like our strategy, the box strategy for Cleveland for attraction and retention, is about marketing it better. Like, we can try to figure out a way to better tell people about Cleveland rather than actually fixing anything, right? This is Cleveland, and this, right? But we didn't do anything. It's the same thing. Well, I realize there must be some baby boomers in the audience because y'all have a saying for this. Putting lipstick on a pig. And even when our recruiting techniques work, right, someone decides they're going to move to Cleveland. They're going to move here. I'm coming. Usually they're coming because they got a job or they married someone that refuses to leave. And so they get here. And this is where the strategy is flawed. See, when people move here from other places, they arrive and you'd expect everyone would say, welcome. But usually the answer is, what made you move here? I had a friend I took out for a beer, and I heard that idea so much. He said he heard it so much that he was starting to wonder if he'd made such a horrible decision. Well, I say that all of us put $1 together in the basket that should be coming around, and all of these miserable people in Cleveland that whine about the weather and the sports teams and all the things that we're not, I say we get them a bus. One-way ticket anywhere you want to go within 4 hours. So I'm not talking about us losing or losing those people. I wish more of them would leave. I really would. The online internet trolls. I really wish they would just leave. But I'm talking about our classmates, our family, our friends. We see them Thanksgiving. They come back smiling. But we always wonder, you don't miss it. You don't want to be here. So now it's time to talk about the big idea. Now, this idea is going to start in Cleveland. This is the flagship. Now, when I say Cleveland, I mean anywhere where if you go out of town and someone asks you where you're from, if you have to say, I'm from Cleveland, right? Because Lakewood or Avon Lake, like no one knows exactly where that is but us, right? So it's Cleveland. Because we're all Cleveland. We're all Cleveland. So y'all ready for the big idea? Yeah. Y'all ain't ready. I will leave and not tell it. I'm gonna ask one more time. Are y'all ready for the big idea? Yes. Yes. Now we're gonna follow our same pattern. We're gonna have a great idea. We're gonna build an amazing team. We are gonna create the plan. Now this idea, I'm not coming to you and asking you because we wanna get it started. This is what we're already doing. We're already doing this. We're already working on it. We're just at the place now where it's time for the universe to take over. Now this idea is the Village Project. My partner in crime, Teleanje, if she was up here, she'd tell you that the Village Project is our solution to the urban decay with the vacant homes as we move young professionals in a concentrated area to elevate it. That's not what I call it. I'm gonna make it simpler for you. Cleveland, Ohio, Cuyahoga County has 16,000 vacant homes. 16,000. There are whole streets where there's 10 houses on the street and only one person lives in one house. So if hypothetically, if I could move into one of the homes and 7 more of my friends could live on that same street, then maybe together we can fight the decay that's happening in that area. We have so many vacant homes. So the biggest thing is now you have to figure out, how are you going to execute that? How are you going to take these vacant homes, 16,000 of them, and you take the millennial generation who half of us live at home with our parents, and the other half of us may be renting 3, 4 of us into one house. Well, if you can spread them out and put them in some of the homes and help them to get into that area, then maybe beyond just the money that you're trying to charge them to move in, maybe their time is worth something. So we put together a team. I'm going to come back to that a little bit. But we created a plan. So the plan was simple. We have to find an area in Cleveland that is majority vacant, that is near a booming area. So I went to young professionals. I said, so what would make you want to move into an area? Because obviously, with it being vacant and no one's living there, what do you want? Well, we all want to be close to the lake, which I think is ironic because I feel like almost none of us go there, right? But everyone wants to apparently live next to it. We want public transportation. We want green space. We want access to another booming area. We want to be able to go within our community and walk our dog. Me personally, growing up in Bedford Heights, I want something even simpler. I would like to live in a community, a neighborhood where at least one person in this community has my extra key. That kind of a relationship. So what type of people are going to have to move into this area? Pioneers. Pioneers. Now, I feel like pioneers had to be the toughest mofos you ever heard in your life, especially the women. Having babies, I don't even know how they did that, right? So the pioneers, the first people, should get something for being first. Should get something for being first. If you're going to go to an area that's totally vacant and needs to be rehabbed, and you're going to go in and put in the work, and you're going to be a pioneer, you should get something for that. Should get something for that. So we looked all over. It's time to execute the plan. I went and talked to almost every council person. They started driving me around their communities. I went to suburban mayors. They started driving me around their communities. I looked for 5 years since I got back. And we finally found it. Now, this area is less than a mile. Let's see if you can guess it. It's less than a mile from the highway. It's less than a mile from the lake. It's less than a mile from the fastest growing job placement location in the city. It's less than 2 miles from both of our largest health systems. It's less than a mile from Case Western Reserve University. Come on. Not Ohio City, not Fremont, not Detroit Shoreway. Glenville. 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 But in our own little piece of Glenville, we carved out a little bit of a niche. It's called Rockefeller Park. Rockefeller Park is the largest cultural garden in the country. In the country. It's the largest. Tomorrow, which I think is ironic, it celebrates its 117th year in existence. I often wonder, with the Rockefeller name being so great, that if we could ever invite the Rockefeller family or the Rockefeller Foundation to come and see what it looks like with their name all over the park, with the vacants right behind it. So I personally want to invite the Rockefeller Foundation and the Rockefeller family to come back to Cleveland. We'll welcome you to show you. So now currently the strategy for rehabbing or handling these vacant properties is a simple answer to that. Right now what we're doing is we're getting money to demo the houses. So I don't know if you saw this article, but the county just got $10.1 million to demolish homes. Right now they have a bid in, or an offer in, to get $50 million additional dollars to demolish homes. So we're going to use our $10 million just to knock them down. So you got to do a two-prong approach. You got to knock some down, but you got to fix some up. But you got to fix them up in a concentrated area. You can't fix one up in this community, one in this community, one. You got to fix them up and knock them down in one area. You got to do it one at a time. You do this one first, and then you let those people who did to teach the. Come on, don't leave me up here by myself. Even if we just got 10% of these funds, we could rehab a bunch of homes. And I'll even give you another idea. They say it's $15,000 to demolish these homes. Then who's opening up a wrecking business? We should be able to get some of these dollars to maybe then rehab our own homes. So we began to do some research to see, so what are they doing other places? What are they doing? Well, did you know that in Kansas, they have something called the Rural Opportunity Zone? That if you move back to certain areas within Kansas, that they give you $15,000 back on your student loans if you live there for 5 years. I said, what? They said over 600 young people have decided to come back to an area that they could never get them to come before. You have to try something. You got to try something. Can't just lay down and just take it. We got to try something. We got to believe that we can do it. I believe. And so since I believe, I started going around to other communities to find out, what are they doing? So I went down to Charlotte. There's something called NODA down there. But I just want to kind of continue on and talk about Austin. So Austin, Texas, if you've been, my mentor, TEDxCLE, called me, and he said, down here there's a lady who took a whole street of vacant homes. She rehabbed them, put bars inside of them, and now it's the #1 place to go down in Austin. It used to be the most filthy location in town, and they fixed it up. So I called, got the PR person, she got me a meeting. We flying down there. We flying down. I get down there, the day before the meeting, the goal is to bring this person who is the expert up to Cleveland. Well, we get there, the day of the meeting, 1 hour before the meeting, I get an email that said, no, the meeting is canceled. No. Where my baby picture at? I smiled. I grabbed my partner, Tony, and I said, Tony, we're going down to her places, and not only are we going to get this meeting, she's coming back to Cleveland with us. He didn't even ask what the plan was. He just got the car. You got to have people like that on your team. Got to. We get down there, we got a piece of paper, a pen, and a stapler, and I wrote, and we went to every one of her locations and left a note. And the note said, my name is Alonzo. I came all the way down here from Cleveland. We went through the conventional routes, but I'm an unconventional person. Call me. And left it at every last place that she owned down there. Stapled it and left it with the manager. The next day it was time to go back, and she called me. We met. 2 months later, she came to Cleveland. Yeah, she came to Cleveland. We toured her around, we showed her the place. She had done this before, so this was our chance to find out that what we're talking about can really be done. She stayed for a whole weekend, had never been to Cleveland before. We at the airport. I say, Bridget, what you think? She said, that is the most beautiful piece of area I've ever seen in my life. And the place that I started with in Austin was 100 times worse than that. And if you can only get the city of Cleveland and the people in your community to work with you, it would be amazing. The universe took over. So I know what you're thinking. It's a great location. We got all the young people excited. We obviously got to do something to the houses. So what's the big question? How you going to pay for it? Well, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how we're going to pay for it. But I never know. I never know. I just start walking, as you know. But I have a couple ideas of how we're going to pay for it, and I'll let you know. First off, in a year and a half, the world will turn 2016. Well, if Cleveland is smart and can plan it right, when you take the zero out, it's the 216, baby. It's the 216. And the 216 that year is a Thursday. And if we plan New Year's out to where all of us are involved, we'll tell people, no, don't just come for one day, but stay for the whole weekend. This is our year. Hopefully there's some extra dollars and we can put some of those towards the homes. You got that point. Join the movement. So we need more help. We got a great team. We're looking for more architects, more designers, more contractors, more volunteers. Join the movement. You live here. You might as well make it the best you can be. I'm also selling sponsorship on my house. It seems to work for the sports teams and the stadiums. So maybe if you put your name on my house and we can put a roof, that's a deal that we can do. But we feel like we need 20 roofs. You need 80 toilets. You need enough for this many homes. So maybe there's a sponsorship in there. And the most innovative idea piece of this is she said yes. Now I'm 32 years old. I'll be 33 in a month. And we all know once you get on Facebook and you see the she said yes. So the last 2 years I've been invited to 25 weddings. Now once I see she says yes, I know what's coming next. The registry. The registry. The list of everything this person needs, this family needs in their first wedding, their first marriage, in order to continue on to the future. And so we should do that same thing with these homes, right? I'm getting married to Cleveland. So on my birthday, instead of buying me a tie, buy me a toilet. Buy me a door. Be a part of the whole process. Now, in conclusion, I decided when I started this conversation that I would not write a conclusion for this thing. That I would just let it come as I was standing up here. And it did come as soon as I heard Bob Marley. I was 17 years old. It was 99. And you remember at this time you could get drafted. I don't know if anyone remember. I know younger kids maybe, but there was the conversation that maybe you could get drafted. And I remember talking to my dad. I said, I can't believe people sign up and go to the Army. People actually sign up and go? I couldn't understand it as a 17-year-old man or young man. And my dad looked me dead in my eye, and I hadn't thought about it almost until I walked up to this stage. He said, son, even a rabbit that has bunnies inside of its little nest will defend its home. It'll run out with everything that it has to protect what is theirs. And so what I ask you as you join the movement and you think about our ideas in the future is that you realize that we are no rabbits. We are men and women, and we must protect our house. Thank you, and may God bless you.